Quiet.
Starting at the beginning then. I think kind of what I want to say about this, and just to allude people into what the idea was, it's a two-pronged attack really. First and foremost, I've never written a song before in my life, ever. I've been a drummer for so long, just never really needed to in the bands I worked with. So I wanted to challenge myself to write a song. One of the main ideas was I wanted it to be as simple as possible, because I had a lot of friends and a lot of people in the music industry in the scene and that writing really complicated songs with lots of chord changes and modes and key changes. I'm not personally into that kind of thing. So I wanted to write a song that was very basic, and when people listen to the song, it's very basic. It's two sections entire way through, one main riff, and then a little mid-section breakdown. So yeah, I kind of noodled around with that. No real idea of what I was going to do with it. Just I thought, I'm going to challenge myself to write a song. And then I was listening. I might have told you this story before, I'm not sure. But I was listening to You Did Vocals on a Great Gig in the Sky cover.
Yeah, Pink Floyd.
And I heard that. And, they're like, oh, it's Kyle. And I flat out didn't believe it. Just didn't believe it because, we've known each other a long time.
Yep.
We were kind of at college together and then co-workers for a number of years before we started doing anything musical. And I'd only really known you in a kind of piano vocal sense, so I'd never really heard you sing like that. So I knew you could sing, and a mutual friend of ours, Daniel, and I'd seen you do some acoustic stuff with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, until that point, I was kind of like, I didn't really know that was in you.
Oh,
so I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna approach you and say, do you fancy singing on it? My memory of that is really, really foggy. I just remember hearing that track, and then I don't even know if I was brave enough to speak to him in person. I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, so this song, with some of the other ones we'll talk about, have very, very particular influences. This song had almost no influence.
Yeah.
It was just, I found a sound I liked, the kind of guitar riff octave kind of sound, and the first thing I ever played with that kind of opening riff.
Yeah.
And it's been through many iterations before the one you hear now. It's never changed as a song, it's just been through different recording processes and things like that. So that was kind of where it all started. I think it sounds a little bit Bondy, although that was never my intention. But yeah, Quiet, song one, started it all. So what's your recollection of bringing Quiet?
I remember you sending me the track and kind of going, right, I want you to write something to this, please. And I went, okay. And I remember listening to it, and I'd not written music in a long time. I had not kind of written lyrics for, oh God, maybe best part of a year, I think. Maybe even longer and at this point. And I was almost like really excited but really intimidated as well at the same time. I was kind of like, oh, I've got to do a good job, because likewise for me, obviously I'd seen you playing bands. And I was like, oh my God, like Rich wants to write music with me. I better do a good job here. Like, I better make sure I pull out all the stops. So I remember with this one taking it quite, all of them are serious. Yeah. But I took this one quite seriously. There's like a couple in the album that I really sat down with my laptop and just kind of went, right, I am writing a song right now. And this was one of the ones. And I knew that I kind of wanted to write something that was a little bit about introversion and kind of being quite introverted. And I mean, as you'll see as we go through, most of the tracks are about miserable feelings or emotions, or really about the stuff that people either don't necessarily want to talk about, or maybe don't get discussed as much. But I like to write in metaphor and have everything shrouded in metaphor. So I basically wanted to write kind of a song that was about going through a difficult time, and instead of going outwards, you kind of go inwards and you retreat in. And the idea that the quiet, which is kind of like this space, is it's a place where you're at the most safest, because you don't need to put on a show or put on a front in front of anybody or anything like that. It's like, right, if you're on your own, you're in the quiet, it's just you. But at the same time, it's that vulnerability of kind of being like, oh, I'm just on my own now, with my thoughts. So I want the title, Only the Quiet Knows My Name. It's kind of like only in the quietest moments am I my truest self, and whether that's kind of in a positive way or in a negative way. And that kind of stemmed from going through a little bit of a difficult time where we both lost a very close mutual friend. And both of us took a pretty heavy knock with that, I think. And that stemmed from that kind of like retreating inwards and going, right, really the best thing that you can do in situations like that is like go outwards and into people. But we didn't necessarily do that. So, yeah, I kind of wrote that song. I actually wrote it quite quick. It kind of just like... It was almost like once I'd undone the plug, like it all just like went, ugh. And everything kind of happened very quickly. But I do remember being extremely nervous for you to hear it, because I was like, oh no, like if he thinks it's rubbish, this wouldn't have done. So I was obviously very pleased when you liked the track, and obviously an album ensued after.
Well, me too. I'm always really nervous because one of the things, again, for each song I'll kind of discuss it. I don't know why, but I am just not good with vocal melody. Can't do it at all. So, you know, it was always something I was going to require help with. So again, it's always nervous, like, what's she going to do? Because I know that, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but every song is a little bit different. But I guess you would class it as more of that kind of rock element. And I've never seen you in that arena, so I was kind of worried, is it going to be too much? I mean, you know, our obsession with reverb kind of came in quite handy for something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, losing a mutual friend is kind of what propelled this to be a bit more serious. Yeah. And, you know, just we sat kind of about this distance away from each other at a desk and shared an office, and I can't believe like she's not doing anything, like this is an absolute abomination. So I made it my efforts to. I mean, it was never going to be anything more than one song, personally, really. But oh boy, did that change ever so suddenly. So yeah, I think that sums up Quiet.
Yeah.